What's that? Up there in the sky. Wow, so strange. What? Acorns lets you invest in Bitcoin now? As unlikely as it seems, Acorns now allows users to invest in Bitcoin. Today we have a lot of questions to answer, like what exactly are they letting us do? How do you add it to your portfolio? Does it make you pay more in taxes if you do this? And if you end up not liking it, can you remove it from your portfolio? Let's talk about it. First of all, what's the change exactly? Well, now we can choose to invest not in Bitcoin directly, but in a Bitcoin ETF through Acorns. Acorns says the ETF closely tracks the price of Bitcoin, kind of like how an S&P 500 ETF tracks the price of the S&P. It's interesting. So we aren't owning Bitcoin directly, but we also sort of don't need to. The actual ETF is BITO, which is the ProShares Bitcoin Strategy ETF. And that ETF has only been around since October of 2021. So it's a very new thing. And if you go to the ProShares website, you can see more info straight from the company that put together the ETF itself. They say that it's the first US Bitcoin linked ETF, and that the value they're adding in doing this whole thing and making this ETF happen is that basically it makes investing in Bitcoin as easy as investing in anything else. If you're not familiar with cryptocurrency investing in general, it can be even more complicated than investing in traditional things in the stock market. People have a lot of questions when it comes to opening a crypto wallet, choosing hot storage or cold storage, choosing whether to allow that crypto to be loaned out to other people to earn you stable like passive income and all this stuff. Instead, what Acorns is doing is setting this up to where you can buy this ETF just like any other ETF. Except with this one, you aren't buying an ownership stake in a bunch of companies like with other ETFs. You're buying an asset that's linked to the price of an extremely volatile digital currency. You can see right within Acorns that this ETF is down over 30% this year. And historically, all crypto, including Bitcoin, has been super volatile. So why would Acorns add this as an option? What are they doing here? Well, my guess is that first it might add more users, which is good for them. And they say that they did it so that you can add diversification to your portfolio, since the price of Bitcoin isn't really linked to the rest of the stock market at all. They also claim that they're doing it in their own way, which is kind of in line with their goals and their integrity and the way they've done everything else, which is to say that you're not buying the crypto itself, you're buying an ETF and you're being forced to dollar cost average into it. We'll talk about what that really means when we get into the taxes here in just a minute. So why did they choose Bitcoin? Well, Acorns said in their Instagram stories that it's because Bitcoin assets are significantly greater than any other crypto token. So it's kind of the biggest, that its price volatility is lower than other cryptos, and that its total history and trading history is greater. So they think it's the best crypto for them to offer on their platform, but they also mention reassessing that as time goes on to make sure that it still lines up with their goals overall. And so it kind of makes me wonder if they would offer other cryptos in the future if those facts about Bitcoin change. One of the big questions I had, which they did answer, is why a Bitcoin ETF and not Bitcoin itself? Well, for one thing, it is easier than starting up a digital wallet, so you don't have to worry about getting that all set up. They also say because this ETF has lower fees than investing in the coin itself, which I didn't realize or know, so that's kind of cool. And this Bitcoin ETF is a regulated security, and so it's got different implications as far as what's happening with the government and regulators than what's happening with crypto itself. And I'm also guessing that it's easier for them to build this into their app because it's just one other ETF on the stock market, unlike building all the things into the app that they would need to do true crypto trading. But that's just my hypothesis. If you want this in your portfolio, here's how you add it. You open the app, you go to your invest section. Notice that it's not available in later yet, which is what Acorns calls their like IRA portion. So you can't put it in your IRA, but you can put it in invest, which is the taxable brokerage account. And then if you scroll down, there's this new whole Bitcoin section here. So I, of course, had to read all the fine print sort of quickly and then opt in because I like experimenting with new things on Acorns here with you. So I'm in it. And there's a preset amount that you're invested in the Bitcoin ETF if you do this. So that amount is based on your current portfolio that you have selected to invest with Acorns, and you'll get a set percentage of this Bitcoin ETF that kind of corresponds. So if you have a conservative portfolio right now with Acorns, you'll be 1% Bitcoin if you opt in. If you don't opt in, you won't be doing any Bitcoin stuff at all. So don't worry about getting forced into this. If you're moderately conservative right now, you'll be at 2%. Moderate is 3%. Moderately aggressive is 4%. And aggressive is 5%. So within Acorns, as of right now, no matter how Bitcoin hungry you are, they won't let you have more than 5% of all of your money to be invested in Bitcoin. The other 95% of that will stay in stocks and bonds. Or in my case, because I'm in the aggressive portfolio, all stocks. But they hinted a future update on their Instagram story that said this: in the future, we will be launching a tool to help you customize your portfolio's investments. Eventually, that will include the ability to customize your Bitcoin exposure as well. If we read between the lines there, we can infer something. I think this is referencing their upcoming change that allows you to pick specific stocks within Acorns, and that will be the biggest single change in Acorns history. It sounds like after that feature rolls out, then they'll add another feature to pick specific amounts of this Bitcoin ETF and have that in your portfolio. Again, just my guess. But what about taxes? Does doing this whole Bitcoin thing make you pay more in taxes? They say that they organize it so you get hit the least amount by taxes, but you still could. The way they do that is by dollar cost averaging you into this new ETF. So every dollar that you send in now, starting from when you opt in, gets a chunk of it sent to this new Bitcoin ETF. What they're not doing is triggering an immediate sale of like your current investments to then buy into the Bitcoin ETF in that selected percentage, because that definitely runs the risk of being like a taxable event, they call it. And so if you sold a bunch of those other investments and you had a profit because of that, then the IRS might say, hey, that's profit, you owe us taxes on that, and then it kind of becomes complicated for you. That totally depends on you and your tax situation, so it's not a universal blanket statement for everybody. So they are trying to minimize the likelihood of a taxable event for us, which is great. Then they mention within the app that if you don't get to that target percentage by mid-month, then they'll actually rebalance the portfolio to make sure you do. So I'm thinking that for us, if we jump on this like right now, that if we don't hit that rebalanced amount, for me it'd be like 5% because I'm in the aggressive portfolio, within the next 3 weeks, which would be the middle of next month, then they'll do the rebalance. And then maybe it's on like a set monthly rebalancing schedule after that. Not totally sure. But in any case, I really don't think this is something that anybody needs to be super concerned about just in general, because A, you would have to have a bunch of money and a bunch of profit in your Acorns account to be thinking about this in the first place. So I don't know anybody that has hundreds of thousands of dollars in Acorns. But even if you did, B, the stock market is down right now anyway. So we probably don't have that much profit to worry about getting taxed on. And C, we're only talking about a max of 5% of your whole portfolio. So we're talking about maybe a few dollars here and there, even if you've done well, not something to lose sleep over. What about an exit strategy? If you end up not liking this, can you remove it out of your account? Thankfully, yes, you can. I'm glad they're not forcing us to opt into this, and I'm glad they're giving us an easy way out. If you start doing this and then you decide it's not for you, that you don't want to be in crypto right now, it's super simple to back out. You can find it really easily within the app, right in the like invest section. It gives you an option to say remove from portfolio. Super quick, super easy. It'll take you 1 minute if you want to back out. And if you want to dig into any of these details for yourself, I've linked the Acorns Bitcoin info in the description. That's a mouthful. But what do you think about this? Are you crypto curious, or is this not for you? Let me know in a comment. And the secret comment version of that today will be starting your comment with an all caps yes or all caps no. These are fun comments that I mentioned towards the end of videos because it's entertaining and because it gives me something to keep an eye out for, because these are my favorite comments by far. I have a strong suspicion that this is going to be tied to the upcoming Acorns change to add specific stock picking to the app, and that's a big change, and it's really good to understand that if you're a current Acorns user or if you're thinking about being an Acorns user. So click this video to learn more about the future of the Acorns investing platform overall and why they're adding stock trading.